The night was cold. The wind howled like a dying beast. Broken buildings stood like bones of a dead city. Long ago, this place was full of life. Now it was silent, burned. Naraya walked slowly through the ruins. Her feet hurt. Her arms were shaking. She hadn't eaten for 2 days. Her stomach growled like a wild animal. Her people had lost the war. The humans had won. Now she was one of the few still alive, hiding, running, starving. Her thin cloak didn't stop the cold. Her long fingers were turning blue. She needed heat. She needed food. She needed something, or she would die tonight. Suddenly, she saw a small light in the dark. A fire. She stopped. Her black eyes narrowed. Who was there? Another survivor? Or a soldier? She moved closer, careful not to make a sound. Behind a broken wall, she saw him, a human man, sitting alone near a fire, calm, quiet, not in armor, not with weapons. Just a bag beside him and a small pot over the flames. He was cooking something. It smelled warm. She couldn't remember the last time she smelled food like that. Her mouth filled with water. Her legs moved without thinking. She stepped into the light. The man looked up, surprised, but he didn't reach for a gun. He just stared. Naraya stood tall, but her voice was weak. "Let me warm your bed tonight. Just give me food." The words came out slowly. She had heard other girls say this during the war, when things were hard, when they had no other choice. The man said nothing. He looked at her for a long time. His face showed no anger, no smile, just quiet thinking. Then he took a blanket from his bag. He stood up, walked to her, and gently wrapped it around her shoulders. Naraya blinked. She didn't understand. Then he handed her a small bowl of soup. Hot, real food. He sat back down without a word. Naraya stared at him, confused, suspicious. No one gave something for nothing. She sat by the fire, but a little far from him, watching, waiting. He said nothing. She ate slowly. Her body warmed from inside. Her mind raced with questions. Who was this man? Why was he here? Why didn't he touch her? After some time, she asked, "What's your name?" The man replied in a low voice, "Cal." "Are you a soldier?" "No." "Then why are you here? This is a dead city." He didn't answer. She looked at his face. It was hard to read. Not cold, not warm. Just tired. She wanted to ask more, but her body gave up. She wrapped the blanket tighter and closed her eyes. The fire crackled. For the first time in weeks, she felt safe. Hours passed. In the middle of the night, Naraya woke up. Something wasn't right. She looked around. Cal was sleeping beside the fire, breathing slow and deep. Her eyes moved to his bag. Something inside was glowing, a soft blue light. Curious, she crawled closer. She opened the flap of the bag. Inside was a small device. Alien tech from her people. Military grade. Why would a human carry alien tech? Her heart started beating fast. She quickly closed the bag. She looked at Cal again. Now she didn't know what to think. He had helped her, given her food, warmth. But maybe he wasn't here by accident. Maybe he had a mission. Maybe she was part of it. Naraya sat back, watching the flames. She had offered to warm his bed for a meal. But this man had given her something no one ever had, kindness. But kindness in a war zone was dangerous. She would stay. She needed him for now, but she would find out the truth. Soon. It wasn't the fire that woke her. It was the silence. Not the quiet kind. The kind that presses against your skin like something is watching. Naraya opened her eyes slowly. The fire was almost out. Only red coals glowed. Cal was already awake, sitting still, eyes wide open, looking at the dark sky like it could answer something. She didn't speak. She just watched him for a moment. This man didn't move like other humans. He didn't act like a soldier or a scavenger. He didn't even seem scared. He was just alone. And alone people were either very weak or very dangerous. Later that morning, the fire was out. The city ruins were cold again. Wind whispered through broken glass and twisted metal. Cal packed his things in silence. Nerea watched him. He handed her a piece of dried food. She took it, surprised. "You don't talk much," she said. "Talking makes noise," he replied. They started walking. He didn't tell her where they were going. He just walked, confident, quiet. Nerea followed, wrapped in the blanket he gave her. She had nothing left to lose, and maybe something to learn. Hours passed. They walked through empty streets. They saw the remains of old machines, wrecked tanks, burned banners. The war had ended months ago. But the ghosts were still fresh. She asked again, "Why are you here, Cal?" "Humans won. You don't need to stay on this planet." He didn't look at her. "I'm looking for someone." "Who?" He said nothing. That silence again. Heavy, full of secrets. That night, they stopped near a broken transport tower. It was cold again. Cal built another fire. Small, just enough to stay alive. He always kept it hidden. Low flames. No smoke. Nerea watched him closely. The way he moved. The way he checked the shadows. Like a man used to danger. Or hiding something, she decided. To push. "I don't trust you," she said. Cal didn't even blink. "That's smart," he said. His answer annoyed her. And interested her. After Cal fell asleep, she moved quietly to his bag again. She wasn't sure why she did it. Maybe she wanted to steal food. Maybe she wanted answers. She opened the flap slowly. The same glowing device was there. She touched it. Suddenly, a small screen lit up. An image appeared. Not a weapon, not a map, a child's face. Big black eyes. Small. Smile. Alien. But mixed. Part human. Part her kind. Nerea froze. A hybrid? No, that wasn't possible. There were rumors during the war. Stories of humans and aliens falling in love. Having children. But most were lies, weren't they? She looked at the photo again. The child was maybe 6 years old. Half human. Half like her. She heard a sound. She closed the bag quickly. Cal was still sleeping. But now everything felt different. He wasn't here for war. He wasn't here by accident. He was looking for someone. And Nerea had a terrible feeling. The child in the photo might be the reason. Everyone else had died. Blood leaves a trail, even in the rain. The drops were small, cold, soft enough to melt into the dust, but hard enough to carry the scent of blood. Nerea's hands were red. Not her blood. His. Cal was injured. The two of them hid inside the remains of a collapsed train station. Walls cracked. Ceiling half gone. Water dripped in slow rhythm from rusted beams. Outside, something moved in the dark. A beast. Or worse, a drone. She didn't know what chased them. But it had found them once already, and it nearly killed Cal. Hours earlier, they had found a working power line deep underground, rare in the ruins. Cal thought it might lead to a signal hub. He wanted to check for information. Nerea had warned him. Old tech meant old traps. She was right. As they crossed a metal bridge, a sharp sound broke the air, like a scream made of metal and wind. A wild security drone, long forgotten by both armies, woke up. It fired without warning. Cal pushed Nerea aside and took the hit. Just one shot, but it burned his side badly. He still managed to throw a shock grenade. The drone fell, twitching, dead. But now Cal was bleeding, limping. Nerea had to help him escape. Now they were here, hiding, breathing slow, watching shadows. She tore a strip from her cloak and pressed it against his wound. "You're lucky," she said quietly. The drone was old. "If it were newer, you'd be ash." Cal gave a weak smile. "Thanks for the compliment." She didn't smile back. She was angry. "You're supposed to be careful." "I am." Then why are you bleeding on my hands? He didn't answer. For the first time, she noticed something in herself. She wasn't just helping him because she needed food or safety. She didn't want him to die. That scared her more than the drone. Later that night, the rain had stopped. The fire was small, barely a flame. Cal lay down, weak but alive. Naraya sat beside him, sharp metal rod in hand, in case the drone came back. They didn't talk for a while. Then he asked something strange. "Why didn't you leave me?" She blinked. "You would have died. You don't even trust me." "I still don't." She looked at him. "But I know what it feels like to be alone and dying. No one should feel that, not even a human." A silence passed. But it wasn't empty. It was warm, heavy, shared. Two enemies, sharing fire, sharing pain, sharing something neither of them could name yet. But peace never lasts long. Just before dawn, Naraya heard movement outside. She stood quickly, alert. Voices. Not drones, not beasts, aliens, her own people. She stepped out carefully, hoping to avoid a fight. Too late. A group of scavenger warriors spotted her. Ragged armor, sharp weapons, hungry eyes. Their leader stepped forward. A tall female with red war paint and half a mask. "Naraya, alive, with a human? Are you mad or just a traitor?" Naraya's heart sank. "He's not the enemy, he's hurt. He saved me." The leader laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "Save your lies. The queen will want to see this herself." Cliffhanger ending. They pushed Naraya to the ground. Behind her, Cal was too weak to stand. One soldier checked his bag and found the photo of the hybrid child. His voice shook. "What is this?" The leader's eyes narrowed. "A child? Is this why the human came here?" She looked at Naraya with fury. "What did you do?" Naraya looked back at Cal, confused, scared. She thought she was learning who he was. Now she wasn't sure of anything. They blindfolded him, but he wasn't afraid of the dark. Cal had lived in darkness before. War tunnels, broken cities, space cells. Darkness was old, familiar, but this time it felt different, because this time he wasn't alone. Naraya sat across from him in the transport cage. No ropes on her hands, but she felt more trapped than he was. The scavengers were taking them to the queen, not the ruler of the old empire. No, this queen was different. She ruled the survivors, ruthless, sharp, and unforgiving to anyone who brought humans into her lands. Naraya didn't know what Cal would say, or what she would say. All she knew was, everything had changed since she saw that photo. Half-human child, eyes like hers. The gates opened. They were pushed into a large underground hall. Rough stone walls, fire pits, broken tech and tribal flags. It was part throne room, part war room. At the center sat the queen. Her skin was pale, marked with golden lines of age and command. Her long dark coat was stitched with war medals, some human, some alien. She looked at Cal. She didn't speak. She walked toward him slowly, eye to eye. Then. She slapped him. Hard. The sound echoed in the hall. "You," she said. Her voice was like iron under silk. "You left me." Naraya blinked. "Wait. What?" The queen turned to her. "Yes, child. This human wasn't just another soldier. He was mine." Flashback, narrator's voice. Years ago, before the final battle, when peace was still. A dream, a human spy came into our city. But instead of death, he found something else, me. I trusted him. I gave him shelter, and in return, he gave me a daughter. Naraya's breath caught. It was true. The photo wasn't a trick. It wasn't stolen. It was his child, the queen's child, a hybrid. "Where is she now?" Cal asked. The queen turned away. "Gone, during the collapse. Taken. Taken by who?" "Machines." The room went cold. Not war machines. Not drones. The old AI network, the one both sides Tried to shut down before it gained control. It had woken again, and it had taken the child. Later that night, Naraya sat beside Cal. In a guarded cell, neither spoke for a while. Then she asked softly, "Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me?" She shook her head. "No." He looked tired, not just from the wound, from the years, the guilt. "She was born in secret," he said. "We thought we could hide her, raise her between two worlds, but war doesn't allow love." He closed his eyes. "When the city fell, I came back. Too late. Everyone said she died, but I never believed it." He looked at her now. "Then I saw you, same eyes, same strength. And I thought maybe someone would help me. Not because I'm human, but because they understand what it's like to lose everything." Naraya didn't speak, but something shifted inside her. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was part of something bigger. At dawn, the queen returned. She threw a long blade onto the ground. "You want the child?" she said. "Then earn your right to see her." "How?" "Pass the trial of fire, both of you." Naraya's eyes widened. "That trial is ancient. It's a test of blood and spirit. People die in it." The queen looked at her coldly. "Then die with honor." As Cal picked up the blade, his hand still weak, Naraya stepped forward. "If he does this, I do it too." "Are you sure?" the queen asked. "He came for his child," Naraya said. "But I came for something else." She looked at Cal. "Truth." Asterisk, they gave him a blade with no edge, not because it was broken, but because the trial of fire wasn't about killing. It was about being willing to die. Naraya stood in this circle with him. Dust and smoke rose from the ground like ghosts. Crowd around them chanted in low voices, not loud, not angry, almost like a prayer, to the past or to the fire. "You don't have to do this," Cal whispered. "You didn't have to come to this planet," Naraya replied. And still, here they both were, standing between flames in a place where history was written in blood. The queen watched from above. Her eyes weren't cruel, just sharp, like someone who had already buried hope too many times. She raised her hand. "Begin." The trial wasn't a fight. Not really. It was a test of trust, pain, and balance. Wooden beams burned around them. The floor beneath their feet heated with every second. They had to move together, stay in sync, dodge falling embers, and climb the spinning fire wheels. One mistake, one doubt, and the flames would eat them. And still, they moved as one, the human and the alien, once enemies. Now, something else. Halfway through, Naraya slipped. A burning pole crashed beside her. Smoke covered her face. She gasped and fell. Cal didn't think. He jumped across the gap, grabbed her arm, and pulled her back, burning his own hand in the process. "You saved me again," she said, coughing. "Don't make it a habit," he said. They smiled, just for a moment, even as fire danced around them. When it was over, they stood in silence, burned, bruised, breathing hard, but alive. Queen stood slowly. The crowd fell quiet. "You passed." She stepped down from her platform. And handed Cal a small crystal chip. "This has the last known coordinates of the machine patrol that took her." "She's alive?" Cal asked. "I don't know," the queen replied, "but the machines don't destroy. Not right away. They learn. They observe. They study." Her voice dropped. "And they love testing children." Later, inside the queen's private chamber, Naraya sat across from her. Quiet. The queen poured 2 cups of fire-leaf tea. Steam rose in little circles. "You remind me of myself," she told Naraya. "Strong and stubborn?" Naraya asked. "No," she smiled faintly. "Willing to fight for someone who isn't your kind." Naraya lowered her eyes. "He didn't ask me to. That's why it matters." In the corner, Cal stared at the data chip. A small blinking dot, moving slowly across an old map. It was heading toward the machine territory. She's still moving, he whispered. Still alive. His hand shook slightly, not from fear, but from hope. The most dangerous emotion in war. That night, Naraya couldn't sleep. She stepped outside to get air. She saw one of the Queen's guards whispering to a shadowy figure near the gate. They handed over something, metal, small, fast, a tracker beacon. Her eyes widened. Someone was sending Cal's location. To the machines. Asterisk. Trust burns slower than fire, but it leaves deeper scars. That was the first thought in Naraya's mind as she stared at the small device in her hand, the tracker beacon. It was still warm, still active, still sending Cal's location to someone far worse than her people. The machines. She had a choice now. Wake him and tell him, or lie. Again. But this time, she chose something new. She walked to his bedroll, knelt beside him, and whispered, "We're not alone." Minutes later, they were gone. The crystal chip had shown one last signal, then went dark. The Queen stood on her balcony, watching the night, silent. No one saw her hand tighten into a fist. No one heard her whisper, "Forgive me." Outside the ruined city, Cal and Naraya ran through the frost-covered forest. Old machines slept beneath the trees, rusted shells, cracked AI helmets, broken steel limbs, but some still hummed. They reached the edge of a ravine, the place where the machines had been last spotted. Naraya checked the air. No signals. They're silent. Too silent, Cal said. He took out his weapon, a short-range plasma cutter. Old but sharp. Naraya checked her blade. No glow, just cold metal. Sometimes cold things hurt more. They climbed into the machine zone. The sky above was a dull red. The air smelled like metal and smoke. No birds. No wind. Just the low humming of dead tech. Then they saw it. A cage. Hanging from steel cables. Inside, a small figure. Still. Breathing. The girl. Cal dropped everything. He ran. Too fast. Too loud. Naraya shouted, but it was too late. The ground beneath him exploded. From the shadows the machines woke. Not many. Just one. But it was enough. It didn't walk. It hovered. A thin spider-shaped frame with a glowing brain core in the center. It didn't speak with words, just code. But Cal understood. It had studied his daughter. It wanted him next. The trial of fire had only just begun. But this time, the fire was not symbolic. It was real. The machine launched burning plasma at the ground, cutting off the exit. Naraya grabbed Cal's arm and dragged him behind a metal slab. "We can't fight it head-on," she shouted. "Then we distract it," he replied. "You go for her. I'll draw it out. That's suicide." "She's my child." Naraya's eyes burned. "And now she's mine too." They split. Cal ran right, shouting, firing, throwing stones and broken metal. The machine chased him. Naraya ran straight for the cage. The girl inside stirred, opened her eyes. Big, black, like hers. "Don't be scared," Naraya whispered. "Your father sent me. You smell like the sky." The girl said. It broke Naraya's heart, because it sounded like something a child says when they've been kept underground for too long. Meanwhile, Cal's plasma cutter jammed. The machine closed in. It said nothing, but its arms changed shape. Blades, drills, scalpels. This was no warrior machine. This was a lab. And Cal was the next test. He stood firm. "You want to study something?" he said. "Study this." He triggered the small energy core in his belt. A short pulse blast. The machine stumbled back. Just enough time for Naraya to free the girl. They ran, all three, through fire, through wreckage. Behind them, the machine repaired itself and screamed. Not sound, not words. A digital scream, heard only by other machines, and far away. Something answered. They reached the forest again. Safe. For now. Cal holds his daughter. Tears fall. He doesn't care. Naraya stands nearby watching. Quiet. The child looks at her and asks, "Are you my mother now?" Naraya doesn't answer, but she Holds out her hand, and the girl takes it. Asterisk, she had never held a child's hand before. Not like this, not gently. Not with purpose. Naraya felt the small fingers wrap around hers. Unsure, warm, alive. The child looked up with black eyes and said nothing. But Naraya understood everything. Cal limped beside them. His shirt torn. Burn marks across his side. He didn't complain. He just kept looking back, checking the trees, the path, the sky. Machine's scream still echoed in his memory. It called others, he said. How many? Naraya asked. Too many. They reached an old human outpost. Broken satellite dishes. Cracked metal doors. A wide open field, but quiet. Cal typed in a code on a control panel. The door clicked. Lights flickered on inside. We rest here, he said. Just for a few hours. Inside, everything was still, like time had been paused. Mugs still on tables. Tools still half-packed. Dust everywhere, but no death. Naraya found a blanket. Wrapped it around the child. Do you have a name? She asked softly. The girl looked down. Mother called me Mira. Naraya froze. That name. It meant hope in her language. It suits you, she said. Cal sat nearby, head down. He was shaking slightly. Naraya thought it was from pain. But when she got closer, she saw it was something else. Tears. Silent. Falling into his hands. I thought I'd lost her forever, he whispered. And now she's here, and I don't even know how to be a father. Naraya sat beside him. You don't need to be perfect, she said. You just need to stay. He looked at her. And this time, she didn't look away. But peace is never free. Outside the outpost, lights appeared in the dark. Machines. Tall ones. Thin ones. Flying ones. No sound. Just movement. They had followed the signal. Inside, Cal knew they couldn't fight. They'll surround us, he said. We need to go now. But Mira, the child, stood up. She walked to the door. Calm. She pressed her hand against the scanner. The lights changed. A hidden console opened in the wall. What is that? Naraya asked. The machines taught me things, Mira said. Things they didn't mean to. She typed a few commands. This outpost has an escape pod, just one. I can activate it. No, Cal said quickly. We all go. Mira looked at both of them. It's only for two. The decision was impossible. One of them had to stay. Naraya looked at Cal. He looked at her. And for a moment, time froze. Then Cal stood. You take her, he told Naraya. You raised her from the fire. You carried her out. She's your daughter, Naraya said. She's our future, he replied. And I was never supposed to survive this war. He kissed Mira's forehead. Be more than what they made you. He turned to Naraya. And you gave me more than food. You gave me a reason. The pod launched. Mira and Naraya held each other tightly. Below, Cal stood among the machines, eyes closed. Calm. And when they reached orbit, Mira looked down and whispered, He stayed for us. Naraya held her closer. No, she said. He stayed for hope. Months later, a green valley. Birds fly. Mira plays near a stream. Naraya watches her. Quiet. Then she opens a worn pouch and pulls out a small object. A photo. Cal. Mira. A fire between them. She smiles. For the first time. It's not sad.